Welcome to another episode of the Moms Making Money podcast. I am Marli and I am so excited to dive into today's topic because it is something that affects nearly every single person who has ever started a new career path, especially in the sleep consulting space. Today, we are going to be talking about overcoming imposter syndrome. You know, that nagging feeling that whispers, who am I to be giving sleep advice? What if they find out I don't know everything? What if I mess up and make things worse for this family? If this sounds familiar and you're nodding your head right now, you are definitely not alone. Whether you are already certified as a sleep consultant or you are just considering this career path, imposter syndrome is probably one of the biggest internal hurdles that you will face. And the truth is, it does not completely go away, even for those of us who have been doing this for years. But I promise you, it does get better, and there are specific strategies that you can use to push past it. So before we dive in, I want you to take a moment and remember something important. Everything that is now easy for you was once intimidating and nerve-wracking. Think about it. Maybe it was driving a car for the first time, or using a particular software program, or even cooking a meal that you now do without thinking or even looking at a recipe. At one point, that skill felt overwhelming and foreign. You absolutely did not go into your first job. You definitely did not go into your first job feeling confident and ready to crush it. It took time and experience to build that confidence. You were probably extremely nervous that first day, maybe even that first week or even month. You didn't start out as the go-to person or the expert. You started out as somebody willing to learn, willing to put one foot in front of the other, and with time and persistence, you became great. Building your sleep consulting business is no different. It takes putting yourself in an uncomfortable position time and time again, and then eventually those actions become second nature. Those business and consulting tasks that may seem terrifying now will one day feel as natural as brushing your teeth. I so clearly remember my first consultation call with a real client, not a practice client, not a friend, and not a family member, an actual paying client who was trusting me with their family's sleep. My hands were literally shaking as I dialed the number. I had my notes spread out all around me. I had a full script of what I wanted to say, and I was convinced that this family would somehow sense I was new and question every single word that came out of my mouth. But do you know what happened? They didn't notice my nervousness at all. They were so focused on their own struggles and so desperate for help with their exhausted family that all they cared about was the fact that I had solutions that I was able to offer them. By the end of that call, I had a family that was excited to work with me, and I had the beginnings of confidence that I could actually do this. So let's talk about what imposter syndrome actually is and why it hits sleep consultants particularly hard. Imposter syndrome is that persistent feeling that you're not as competent as others perceive you to be, that you've somehow fooled everyone around you into thinking that you're knowledgeable when you actually don't deserve to be in the position that you're in. And it's that fear that you're going to be found out as a fraud. In the sleep consulting world, this feeling is amplified because we are dealing with something so incredibly important: a family's well-being, a child's development, and parents' mental health. The stakes feel incredibly high. And beyond that, there is no standardized path to becoming a sleep consultant. Many of us come from completely unrelated fields: corporate jobs, teaching, retail management, stay-at-home parenting, and that can make us question whether we have the right to even call ourselves experts. But here's something crucial that I want you to understand. Being a sleep consultant is not about knowing every single thing that there is to know about sleep from day one. It's about having a structured approach to helping families, a solid understanding of sleep foundations, and most importantly, the genuine desire to support parents through a challenging time. When I started my business, I was still working full-time in corporate America. I had no healthcare background, no childcare credentials. I just had my certification training and my experience with my own children's sleep struggles. I felt like such an imposter those first couple of months, constantly worrying that clients would ask me something that I couldn't answer. And guess what? They did. Clients will ask questions that you haven't anticipated, or their situation may include factors that you haven't encountered before. But what I learned is that it's completely okay to say, that's a great question. I want to make sure that I give you the most accurate information. So let me do some research and I will get back to you shortly. That honest approach actually built more trust than if I had tried to fake my way through an answer. And I can absolutely relate that back to my time in leadership in corporate America. I always trained leaders to know that they didn't have to have all the answers. I would always tell leaders that I was training that the absolute best way to build trust with their new team was by admitting when they didn't know something and being willing to learn and being willing to get answers at a later time, and then bring back and actually follow up with that person and give them the answer once they have it. That is an amazing way to build trust, whether you are a leader in corporate America or you are a sleep consultant working one-on-one with families. So now let's talk about how to actually overcome this imposter syndrome that may be holding you back from even getting started and enrolling into a certification program. I have 5 strategies that have helped me and countless graduates from our Cradle Coach Academy sleep consultant program. So strategy number 1 is remember that you know more than you think you do. If you have completed a certification program, you have already learned more about sleep than 99% of the clients that you will be working with. Even if you're just starting out, the structured education that you've received puts you miles ahead of where most parents are in their understanding of sleep science and solutions. Think about it. You've studied sleep cycles, sleep associations, age appropriate schedules, sleep environment optimization, and various approaches to sleep training. Most parents are piecing together information from blog posts, social media, and conflicting advice from friends and family. Your systematic understanding is incredibly valuable. I always tell my students that on the day they graduate from our program, they already have so much more knowledge about sleep than the vast majority of the clients that they'll work with. That doesn't mean that you know everything. None of us do, but you know enough to help families make significant improvements in their sleep situation. There is also something to say for the fact that we naturally struggle to see solutions to our own problems whenever we are close to the situation. Having an outsider, which is going to be you as the sleep consultant, who can come in and assess the situation without bias in and of itself is incredibly valuable. Strategy number 2 is to start small and then build momentum from there. You do not need to tackle the most complex sleep cases right out of the gate. Start with cases that align with your comfort zone. Maybe that's working with a specific age group, like a 6 to 12-month-old baby with bedtime struggles. Or perhaps it's focusing on early morning wakings or nap transitions. Each successful case will build your confidence and expand your practical knowledge. Those early wins are so incredibly important. They prove to yourself that you can really make a difference in families' lives, and they provide you with testimonials and case studies that you're able to share with other prospective clients. Document these successes both for your own confidence and for testimonials. Strategy number 3 is embrace being a continuous learner. The most respected professionals in any field, doctors, attorneys, professors, are always continuous learners. Sleep science is constantly evolving and new research emerges regularly. No sleep consultant knows everything, and that's actually a good thing. You want to make it part of your professional identity to stay curious and to keep learning. Join sleep consultant communities, read the latest research, attend workshops and webinars, and when you frame your practice as a journey of continuous learning rather than a destination of complete knowledge, the pressure to know it all diminishes significantly. I still regularly attend sleep science workshops and read new studies, even after years in the field. When we brought in that sleep doc, who is Dr. Sujay Kansagra, to do a workshop on sleep training safety a couple of months ago, I was just as mind blown and excited about the information I was learning from him as my brand new students were. Being open about my continuous learning with clients actually strengthens their trust in me. It doesn't diminish it. Strategy number 4 is create systems and resources to support your your confidence. One of the best ways to combat imposter syndrome is to develop robust systems that support your work. This might include a detailed intake questionnaire that helps you to thoroughly understand a family situation, a library of resources that you can refer to whenever specific situations arise, sleep plan templates that you can customize for each family, a network of other professionals who you can consult with whenever you encounter something unfamiliar. These systems serve as scaffolding while your confidence is building. They ensure that you are not missing important details and they help you provide consistent, high quality service even when you're feeling uncertain. In our program at the Cradle Coach Academy, we provide all of these resources to our students, but I always encourage them to adapt and personalize them over time. Eventually, these systems become so ingrained in you that you rely on them very rarely. But in those early days, they are absolute lifesavers for your confidence. Our student and graduate community is a lifeline for our students. They are able to come in and get support on any topic that they are struggling with, regardless of how long they've been doing this work. Our community is lifetime access and it is completely invaluable to our students. Strategy number 5 is to remember that your value goes beyond sleep knowledge. What makes a truly exceptional sleep consultant is not just technical knowledge about sleep cycles and sleep training methods. It's the ability to listen deeply to families, to understand their unique values and challenges, to communicate clearly, and to provide compassionate support during a difficult time. Many of these skills, active listening, empathy, clear communication, problem solving, and others, are transferable from other areas of your life and your work. Your unique background and experience bring tremendous value to your sleep consulting practice, even if they don't seem directly related. One of our most successful graduates came from a background in customer service. She had zero healthcare or childcare experience, but her exceptional ability to make clients feel heard and valued has made her one of the most sought after sleep consultants in her area. Her clients consistently say that it was not just her sleep knowledge that helped them, but how supported they felt throughout the process. When imposter syndrome strikes, remember that your worth as a sleep consultant encompasses so much more than just technical sleep knowledge. I also want to share a bonus topic that I just thought of and that is incredibly important. And so I definitely didn't want to leave it out. One of the best things that you can do when you're struggling with your confidence and your abilities and you are questioning everything and you're feeling that imposter syndrome in a really big way is you should go out and connect with people. Making connections and helping people is the best way to shake that off. So something that I constantly found myself doing, especially in the beginning, is in those moments that I was feeling really down or feeling like um, I wasn't worthy of the clients that were working with me or that I wasn't really capable of supporting them, I would go into Facebook mom groups and just give free advice out. I would sit there and look for any posts that were relevant to sleep or parenting, and I would just help people for like 10 to 15 minutes. And then after that, I would feel so much better. And that would help me just rebuild that confidence that I was lacking for whatever reason in that moment. So that's definitely something that I recommend doing anytime that you're feeling that imposter syndrome specifically particularly strongly. So now let's talk about a mindset shift that can be really powerful whenever you are battling imposter syndrome. I want you to start thinking about expanding your comfort zone rather than stepping outside of it. Building a successful independent sleep consulting business relies heavily on genuine connections and trust, just like I just talked about. But making those connections often requires pushing yourself to grow in ways that feel uncomfortable at first. Instead of viewing this as stepping outside of your comfort zone, which implies leaving safety behind, think of it as gradually expanding your comfort zone to include these new activities. Every time that you take a brave action, like introducing yourself at a community event for new parents, sharing your knowledge in a local parents Facebook group, or offering to speak for 10 minutes at a prenatal class, your comfort zone expands a little bit. The discomfort diminishes and your confidence will grow. I experienced this whenever I first started reaching out to potential networking partners like pediatricians and doulas. The first few times were absolutely terrifying. Believe it or not, I am an introvert, and those kind of things are really, really, really difficult for me to do. My heart would race, my palms would sweat, and I would rehearse what I was going to say a dozen times. But with each successful interaction, it got a little bit easier and a little bit easier. So now networking feels natural and it's energizing rather than it being draining and terrifying. The key is just to start and start with small steps. You don't have to speak at a huge conference or pitch yourself to the busiest pediatric practice in town right away. Choose one small, brave action each week and then watch as your comfort zone gradually expands to include actions that once seemed impossible. Remember that the discomfort you feel when taking these actions is a sign that you are growing, not that you're doing something wrong. Embrace it as evidence of your expansion into new territory. The most meaningful growth happens outside of your comfort zone. Every time that you push yourself to try something new, whether it's speaking at an event, networking with a new professional contact, or simply asking for a referral, you're not just growing your business, you are developing yourself as a professional and building your confidence. As we wrap up today's episode, I want to leave you with an important reminder. Imposter syndrome never completely disappears, and that's actually okay. Even the most experienced sleep consultants still have moments of self-doubt. The difference is that they've learned to recognize those thoughts for what they are, just thoughts, not facts. And they've developed the courage to move forward despite them. The next time that you're feeling that wave of imposter syndrome washing over you, try this simple exercise. Acknowledge the feeling without judgment. So something like, I notice I'm feeling like an imposter right now. And then remind yourself of the concrete evidence that contradicts that feeling. Your training, your successful cases, the positive feedback you've received. And if you're not yet certified, then imagine yourself in those positions and imagine all of the people that you are going to help. Finally, ask yourself, what would I do if I wasn't feeling this way? And then do that thing anyway. Action is the most powerful antidote to imposter syndrome. Remember that families who are working with you are not looking for perfection. They're looking for somebody who genuinely cares, who has knowledge that they don't have, and who can guide them through a challenging time with compassion and clarity. You are absolutely capable of being that person. If you are struggling with imposter syndrome, either as a practicing sleep consultant or as somebody considering this path, I would love to hear from you. You can reach out to me and let me know what strategies have helped push you past these feelings. And if you're interested in learning more about our sleep consultant certification and business accelerator program, both of which include significant support around mindset and confidence building, you can schedule a time to chat with me directly or to connect with one of our graduates, Michelle. The link to do this is in our show notes, and you can visit the cradlecoachacademy.com/contact to schedule that call as well. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of Moms Making Money. If you found this helpful, please subscribe to this podcast, leave a review, and share with a friend who might benefit. One last reminder that you do not have to feel confident to take action, and that taking action is what will eventually build your confidence. Thank you so much for listening, and I will catch you on the next episode.